What if I told you that this iPhone could play some of the best Nintendo games of all time? Well, now it can. Well, I was just enjoying my day like any other until my friend texted me that there was a new emulator on the App Store named Delta. Now, this emulator could play games all the way from NES to DS. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my experience with emulators has only really come on computer. While I have emulated in the past on an Android phone before when I was very young, iOS I never really bothered to. There was just always too many steps to actually get emulators on the phone since they were banned from app stores. But now Apple has officially allowed emulators to be put on the App Store. So when you first open up the app, there won't be too much to do on it. I already have some games on here, but it's really just going to be basic emulator stuff. You're going to have the ability to change like the skins for some of the consoles here, which is really cool, and I've already seen some posts online about it. But most interestingly, I think you can actually connect a lot of different controllers to your phone and use that instead of just using the touchscreen. Now, for me, I'm a student, and let's just say if I want to kill some time in class or something, I don't really want to be carrying around a huge PS5 controller when I could just use the touchscreen. But for anyone who is interested in doing that, well, there's up to 4-player support apparently, which is really cool for an iPhone emulator. If you have multiple devices, there's also the ability to sync your data and saves and stuff, but I only have my iPhone right now, so I don't really care about that feature, although I'm sure it will be very useful if I want to switch to like an iPad or something. But anyway, the fact that you can play all of these consoles on the phone now is kind of awesome. I know it was definitely possible before, and my friend was telling me that he's done something similar in the past, but for me, I have never been able to play games, especially not a Nintendo 64 or DS game on my iPhone, so that's really awesome. So when you first boot up a game, it's going to be very normal, I guess. There's not really anything crazy about this emulator that it'll put you through. It's literally just like anything else. It'll give you a nice little UI that resembles whatever console you're playing on. If you want to play in portrait mode, it'll give you a nice skin that you can change in the settings. If you want to play in landscape mode though, which is probably what I would do, you'll get a nice little layout here. But like when you're actually like playing the game, I have to say, it looks amazing. I mean, there's no problems really running any of the games. Obviously, I'm playing an SNES game right now, so I would hope there's not really any issues. But like all the colors are perfect and everything. It's literally just like playing any old emulator on your computer. Now, if I pause the game real quick, you can see there's a couple different things for you to do. You know, just like any other emulator, there's save states and load states. There's the fast forward button, which is literally you just fast forward your game so you can play it faster. Really fun for like Pokemon games that take a long time to grind. There's the cheat code section where you can add, you know, cheat codes from Game Genie or Pro Action Replay. And then there's a little feature that allows you to hold buttons down if you want to do that. I don't really know any situation where I would, but yeah, that's an option. You know, as great as some of the older games are, I'm really curious to see how like some of the more intensive Nintendo 64 games run on here. Obviously, I can't play them all at once, but I have dabbled in a few and they play pretty great. You know, obviously the first one I wanted to try was Super Mario 64, and yeah, it was just surreal opening up the game like on my phone and just seeing this. You know, I never really would expect an emulator like this to come out just out of nowhere. So when I heard about it and downloaded the game from my sources and put it on the emulator, it was just, I don't know, it just felt right, and it runs perfectly. Everything sounds right. There's no issues. Only thing that may come up is if you have, you know, weird ROMs, but that's really any emulator. You know, if you go to reliable sources to get your ROMs, you should have no issues here. I guess there are some games, especially on the N64, that might be a little tricky to control. Like to be fair, Mario 64 is not the easiest game to control in the world. Like just going in and moving around, it just feels normal. There's nothing noticeably bad. It might be funny to say this, but this game looks like probably the best it can on the iPhone. And I guess that just comes down to the iPhone being quite powerful. I'm playing this on the iPhone 15 Pro. You know, obviously this is probably, I believe, the strongest iPhone right now, if not the second strongest to the iPhone Pro Max. And, you know, it's running smoothly. There's no frame drops ever. And yeah, this is just, it's surreal. I keep saying it's hard to believe that I can do this, but I can. You know, obviously, I'm just going through a couple of these games here just to kind of display what the experience is like on the different emulators in the game, showing off some features like fast forward and how fast it actually gets. You know, going through playing Pokemon Fire Red on my phone, this is just like how it used to be in the old days when I would emulate on my Android phone. And this is just, it's super fun, you know? Just who doesn't want to just sit around and boot up one of their old games instead of just, I don't know, going on TikTok or something. I certainly would prefer to play retro games over scroll on TikTok. Okay, so one thing you should know if you're going to get this emulator, the DS games specifically require a couple extra files, which are the BIOS7.bin, the BIOS9.bin, and the firmware.bin files. You can get these online. If I can figure out how to link these in the description or something, then I will. But yeah, you're gonna need just a couple files here to play DS games. You know, it's not really difficult. Your phone is basically just a computer. Just get them from the internet, you know what I mean? You know, one thing I really do find super cool is just the ability to fast forward any game. As you can see, I am running around in the Ocarina of Time like a fool with fast forward on. Well, maybe some games are better with fast forward off. But yeah, I just quickly wanted to make a video about this new emulator on the App Store. I really am just like kind of blown away about how this is even allowed by Apple, but hey, I guess we live in new times. I know the emulator situation has been kind of strange recently, but you know, I've always been a big fan of emulating, and the fact that I can do it so easily now on the go makes me really happy. But let me know what you guys think. Are you going to be downloading Delta? Because I think you really should if you're a fan of retro gaming at all, because this thing is just awesome. I really just have nothing else to say about that. Anyway, please like and subscribe if you did like this video, and I will see you in the next one.